everyone. Welcome to Glenda's Dragon's Den. I am Glenda Dawson, and this is LD. And we like to show our appreciation for being with us every single week. And those that catch us live or those that catch us in the recordings, thank you for being here. We appreciate all that you do for us. We have now a very special guest with us, a world-renowned psychic and trance medium. Oh, for goodness sakes, your bio is too long. I'm just
Yes.
going to introduce you, the wonderful Michelle Roos. How you doing, honey?
I am doing wonderful, and thank you so much for having me on here tonight. I am so ecstatic to be here with you.
Don't jump the gun. It's not over yet. I mean, I like where we're starting, but let's hope you appreciate it just as much when we say goodnight.
So how are you, honey? You know, we haven't really seen each other in a long time.
I'm fine, you
we see each other every day.
Well, that's what clued me.
Yeah.
I'm not used to her calling other people honey. And we live in those times where, it's gender bender.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, so what have you been up to? Tell us
my
about
gosh, what have I not been up to?
There you go.
It's only
I
an hour
actually did an amazing trip to Scotland. That was speechless, actually. Learning the history of different things going on there, especially all the witch trials and how many females actually lost their lives, being condemned of being a witch for certain things. If your neighbor didn't like you or you spoke back to your husband, just different things like that. I will say, started off as a small group. Every little pub we hit, we had to try a shot of whiskey to see what it was like. Just one. We did good.
That'll get you a grip on your knickers.
Yeah. But we kind of made it up through the Highlands all the way, by the time we got up there, it was the whole group. So it was a beautiful journey, met so many beautiful people, and actually, got some great, friendships out of it. So it was magical. So I was really excited about that. Then I had to come back and go back to work. Yeah. But we did do some events this year, and so it was kind of like just been staying steady.
Good.
And now getting ready for the holidays, right?
Oh, yes. Even though they're always in December around the same time, it just seems like this year it has gone extremely fast.
Yes.
I don't know what it is, but
well, I know about the holidays because it takes 3 ghosts to get men to listen.
True. I'm still in that one. I'm just going to tell you, we need to put that on Facebook. That will really get them stirred up.
Yeah. That's for sure. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, like your background, how you got here.
Well, let's see, my background. Yes, I am a psychic medium and trance medium. The only thing that I don't really do is what I normally call the love notes. I do not get spirit to me that is grandma, grandpa, or someone like that, just to, say you're baking their cookies, okay. When I say I speak for spirit, I actually speak for spirit and tell their story. I get called into a lot of places to, help try to figure out what happened and why it happened. And a lot of times I will find extra history because of that. Right. I see spirit in the way that they died. So I don't get the beautiful, all angelic all the time. I get more of that I used to think it was a nightmarish kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
but I got to understand what they were trying to show me and tell me. I can now, kind of go with it and give them the story that they were never able to tell.
Well, before we get too far afield, and this is kind of what I feel I need to do here. Define what a trans medium is, please. Just so everyone is clear that doesn't know that verbiage.
Well, and the trans medium, there's two different ways, because a trans medium can use trance to get into that, but also they can be also titled as a physical medium. They kind of put them together because if you get doing trans mediumship, you can actually bring spirit to you.
So that's
it's kind of like that fine line.
So that's TRANCE.
Yes.
Yes.
Trans.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to
Not
make sure.
trans.
That's what I wanted to make sure that people didn't misunderstand.
Depends on who you're talking to, actually. Right?
Well, we just we like to leave no turn unstoned here.
Well, and the thing is, we, like I said, there is that fine line. Right. And a lot of your trans mediums also don't really always go into a trance. It was just a name given. A lot of that is straight out channeling, when mediums will allow spirit to come in so they can speak for them. Right. So, they always want to put different little titles, but when you're really working with spirit, it's what you allow spirit to do with you, whether you kind of go off into the channeling or if you're calling spirit into you. So,
yeah, that's sounds good. And
that's very important, when you go to these other countries. When they speak with you, do they speak your language?
Not always. And that's one thing. Oh my God. I guess everybody thinks when you pass away, you speak English. I'm just not sure why, but I've heard Russian. Mm-hmm. I've heard Asian, German, depending on the location. But even here in the States, people forget the United States was built with immigrants. Right. So depending on where you're at, they all traveled. They didn't stay. They didn't just come across with the boat and then just stayed in one area. They started spreading out. So, even if you're in Kentucky, mm-hmm. you might get someone, that was Irish or Italian. And so when you're like, well, this kind of sounds like this language and you can't really speak it. Now, the good thing is I do speak German. So if I do get a spirit that speaks German, I can at least help you there. Right.
Are you able to transcend and do a more telepathic connection if you don't speak the language, or what happens if you just don't know that language?
I kind of let them know I don't know the language. I have never done it the telepathic way of trying to reverse that language. Because one, I'm respecting spirit.
Right.
And if I mess it up, that shows disrespect to them. Mm-hmm. So I'm very open when I do these things to say, I'm sorry, but I'm not able to understand them right now. But I will say, hey, let's record what I'm trying to get. And if we can find someone that speaks that language, then I will actually do that.
It's very good. Very smart. That's why.
Thank you.
Well, reality is.
Well, it's nice to, again, meet someone who respects spirit, right. Because I know worldwide organizations that think that they can dominate spirit.
Right.
And I actually severed my relationship with some major ones because of that. That's not how we practice either.
We try to respect spirit no matter where they are, what point they are, how long ago they died, or was a reason, whatever it is. It's like
correct.
Us. It's like human beings. You want respect, so you should give it, and it's very important to us.
Well, it is, and a lot of people think if you pass away, you don't have those feelings.
Right.
Well, I beg to differ, because when I see it, The hardest ones is when I start speaking to spirit that are males. No offense, LD. But back from, early 1800s and on, because they're looking at a female like, okay, they're checking out what I'm wearing and stuff. So they're just as confused as we are.
Right.
And to try to help in that transition, people don't understand. You're having to work around because they're still in their time period.
Mhm.
They didn't realize we kept moving forward.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how I raised my son, that even when he sees a movie or even an older TV show, he has to understand the time in which that was produced.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for saying that.
Well, I mean, it's an important facet of really getting a grip on how things have transitioned to where they are today.
Mhm.
So, what has been so far your favorite? Was it Scotland or which
Well,
your, or it could have been
I
here?
don't know yet because I'm going to be going on some more tours, which we'll talk a little later
Right.
about. So I don't have a favorite yet,
Well,
but
so
I
far.
think so far Scotland. And I think because Scotland has all these different layers, it depends on what part of Scotland you're in, of what kind of history that opens up. Everybody thinks of the kings and the queens. Well, they don't realize all the people below them.
Right.
And so going into some of these castles and these ruins where that used to be castles, the walls were still speaking. And, I could, feel the despair and, the anguish of some of those. And it got overwhelming sometimes because I think people might have thought I was going through menopause or something because I was angry, I was happy, I was crying, and I'm like, no, they're saying this. No, they're saying. That is why I took a shot of whiskey.
Oh, that's why. See, you even came up with the right excuse for that.
Oh, yeah, it's been a tough day at the office.
And of course, you had to try every pub on the way up and on the way down, and.
Or did you just stick with the single
Absolutely.
malts?
They do have a great malted whiskey with honey and stuff. I didn't even know that is a thing, and I gotta say, I went to one pub. We got 10 shots for $13 in Scotland. Just throwing it out there. $13.
That's not bad.
Well, they don't have to export it. Think of all the money they save.
Yeah, that's very true.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, I could see that group.
No wonder they had so much fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's coming up for you?
Well, in 2023, I am very humbled to be able to do 2 tours with Mysterious Adventure Tours. In September, I am going to go to Greece with the godfather of paranormal, Mr. Johnny Zaffis. The itinerary for this Greece trip is just phenomenal. And to be able to continue to the paranormal with Johnny, I adore him. He is kind of like my mentor. I got to call him because I'm about to lose my mind, or Sunday afternoon gossip. It's whatever it is. But to be able to watch him in action, how does he, start doing the paranormal? And so having a group of people, building new friendships and going across, to Greece is going to be amazing. Then on the flip side, in October, I get to take all the little witchy friends and all that, all more metaphysical, as we go to Ireland to celebrate Halloween.
Oh.
And since Ireland is known and Halloween was born there, we're going to do the celebration of puka, dancing in fire rings, different things like that. So that's going to pull out more of the metaphysical side of me. I'll have the paranormal and then I'll have my metaphysical. So I'll kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yes,
So
it sounds like you're going to have a lot of fun.
I know you should join me. You both should. Honestly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Are you going to be in Michigan as well this year?
Not right now, unless you guys are inviting me.
We're in Pennsylvania. But I
Well,
don't
I'll come there too.
know. Oh Lord.
We don't even need an invitation.
No, we should
We
show
just show up, yeah.
You just show up. Well, just put me in your suitcase, Glenda. I'll be there with you.
Spirit
I
call.
got you, girl. I got you.
It's wherever spirit calls, and all of a sudden we were there, and everybody's like, "What are you doing here?" Hey, we got told to come, so we did. We never say
That's
who told us.
awesome.
We never say who told us, but that's it's good, and it's got its sometimes its rough
Yeah.
spots. When because we a lot of the times we get called for houses that involve kids are getting
Mhm.
hurt
Abused.
and all that other stuff. So we're called in there to kind of remediate, is what we call, kind of calm everybody down, both sides
Yeah.
of the world, both sides, and come up with a resolution that everybody can live with, hopefully. Either that, or I gotta sweep everybody out. The way it is.
Well, the
So,
last time we worked with John, and it's funny because I call him the godfather of paranormal as well, not to his face, but when I describe him to people, he actually got to speak with the Warrens.
right.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was pretty neat. Pretty neat.
He seemed impressed.
But so you have those two out of the country. What are you thinking? What do you do here?
Well,
You know,
here we've got a lot of events. Actually, also, we are going to be doing like Rock Island. We are going to be in Indiana at the Indiana Sanitarium. So we have actually events going out throughout the year also. So I'm doing those events also.
Now,
Hmm?
say the name of your paranormal team.
It's Riverside, Iowa Paranormal. And I have chapters in different areas. I've got them in Texas, Indiana, Iowa. And what we do is a lot of the events, the money that we raise, we give 50% to the locations to help with historical preservation. And then the other 50% actually helps the families in need. So we do a lot of private calls. We do go to homes, we do investigate, we work with a lot of children and families. And that money is used to help to have team members get to those areas, because we never charge anyone. And then what we do is, because we work with a lot of veterans, we make sure that we give money over to the veterans associations too. Because we do have one of the largest VA hospitals here in Iowa. So we kind of do a lot of that. So we give back to the communities also.
Yes, that's what people don't understand, that when they see paranormal, they think we should go in there to basically do nothing but speak to ghost or spirit or whatever.
And get rich.
Right, and get rich. They don't understand that 99% of the times we actually walk out in the red.
Correct.
Right? Because
Correct.
Not literally.
No, but we pay for all our expenses, the times, and we try to give back also. And so, that's what some people don't understand. But I'm glad that we're talking about this, so it goes out there and people understand that it isn't just we're doing this for the money, because we're not.
We are not. It is a calling. Not everybody can do it. A lot of people say they do it, but it's not done for the right reasons.
Right.
My family, military background, always have given. But it's the same thing that I had continued on, and the biggest thing is, I don't just say, okay, your house is cleansed, we're done. We also take care of the aftermath, because when they're in that kind of stress, just because a house is cleansed or you got rid of what was in there, you're still having to be there for them afterwards to help with the healing process
Right.
and get that, you're never going to fix them, but you're at least going to put them on that right track to do that. And there's a lot of work involved. There's phone calls, we do intakes. I have to get a lot of paperwork done, because if it does become something very dark and I need to call any of the churches in due to their faith, their beliefs, I have to have proof.
Right.
So,
Right.
and that's kind of how we do it.
Exactly. It's part of being an exorcist, right?
Yes.
So it's you got to see the degree of the spirit, basically the
Yes.
degree of the energy, and whether it's kind of harmless or whether it's a little more involved. So
Now, I don't know if it's been reversed, but I was under the impression that the Catholic Church no longer does exorcisms.
the Catholic Church is not allowed to do it, but
Mm.
there's a few priests that
Still
Well,
allow
that's
do.
why I said the church.
Yeah, the church.
Yes. So it's still out there, but it is, I guess you would say alley exorcisms.
Right.
But there are still churches out there that do it, but it is actually more detailed.
Right.
When we're talking about people being possessed, it is such a fine line with mental illnesses. So they do have to look at both of those, because they can mimic very much. But I will say possessions are very rare.
Mm-hmm.
Infestations, oppression, those things are very real.
Right.
But you have to know, exactly what you're kind of getting into. And a lot of times it's more dangerous doing that because you don't know what you're walking into. And a lot of times if one of the priests call me to go into a home to check it out, I normally will have to sit with them to kind of see, are they manifesting their own demon?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand that when you get oppression, you have so much negative energy that keeps building up around you that you can actually manifest your own demon that will torture you because it is yourself.
Right.
And as humans, we have a hard time looking into the mirror and looking at ourselves and saying, I love you. You're great. You're magnificent.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of reflects back into that whole, possession type of thing, because in a way it is, because it's yourself.
Right. Right. And it's true.
Yeah.
Everybody hears all this about possessions and exorcism and all that, and there are very small percentage.
Correct.
And I'm grateful for that,
Me
because
too.
it's not really a fun thing to do.
No.
I have been blessed that so far, knock on wood, many times, it's okay. I haven't been hurt. I haven't anything, but you got to go in there with a lot of respect and know that anything could, anything and everything could happen.
Absolutely.
And we have seen a lot of people who just go into houses thinking it's fun, and then they get hurt.
Yes.
Or actually calling it into them.
Yeah, we've
Mhm.
actually experienced that. And then getting that phone call, late at night. What should I do?
Oh, been there, done that. Yeah. And you're like, you did what?
Yeah, exactly. Wait, come back. I know I'm half asleep.
Yeah.
Okay, because you just woke me up in, kind of the middle of the night. What was that?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God. So those are the times that people really have to remember and realize this is serious. Yes, it
Oh,
could be
yeah.
a lot of fun because you could go into a place, get the history, like you said, let them speak their truth.
Yes. Thank
Not what
you.
is
Thank
written,
you.
not what is written in these books, but the
Amen.
truth, right? And be able to go back and then document it, because
Yeah.
if it's true, You could just go and find the little trails. But yeah, people just like to paranormal. Oh yeah, let's go. This. Oh yeah, let's go. And we're like, oh, okay. Um, so how long have you been in the exorcism realm?
Um, a really long time without saying my age. I actually had studied and all that with demonology, but
Uh-huh.
also different type of religion beliefs and things like that, because more of it was trying to figure out what my nightmares were, because the way I was seeing spirit.
Mhm.
And so that was more of my self journey of, okay, if this is how I'm seeing it, am I more on that darker side? Am I supposed to find that out to kind of bring it to the light?
Mhm.
Um, I will say, I'm going to give myself props here. I am the first woman that was inducted to the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, and it wasn't done over a computer. I mean, some of it does, the testing, but um, it was just more of for myself,
Right.
but then didn't realize that my self journey was actually put for me to help others.
Right.
And because the way I see spirit and talk truth about spirit, I mean, I warn people because you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I'm not going to sugarcoat something.
Right.
And, a lot of people even think at the same time, you got to realize when we're talking demons or exorcists, when somebody is very bad in life,
Mhm.
just because they pass away, they do not become angelic or a saint. Um, their imprint will still be what they were in life. So when we talk about demons and things like that, a lot of time it's that negative energy that was trapped in this human body that has now been released and is still a negative energy. A serial killer stays a serial killer. That's just how it is. And because of it going into the next realm, it has now become stronger. And now when I see those types of energy,
Mhm.
they look like these creepy, crawly, half, like Alien, the movie Alien, stuff just, ugh.
Right.
And that is where my journey went, because I'm like, why am I seeing these things? Am I a bad person? What's going on? You're thinking you're
Mhm.
going crazy, but that's my path. And I'm supposed to be the voice for both that good and bad
Mhm.
and continue from there.
Right. Right. Yes, and I don't know about you, but my experience is that when you do an exorcist or anything comparable to that, you do kind of lose what I call a little piece of your soul,
Yes.
because that little bit of energy is just they
Mhm.
just take it, and that's how you're able to hopefully transmute it into a more calmer, peaceful energy field, basically. But that's why I'm very blessed that what I've done has been okay, and I really, it's okay. I don't need to do any more unless I'm called to, but
Yeah.
I don't really go out looking for it.
And you
Me
only had to have
neither.
a phone to start with.
Wow, wow.
Well,
Which went
That
from
was a capital WOW. I'm just going to let you know.
yeah, yeah. Oh wow. Okay. Woof. He's terrible, Tay. Anyway,
He is
um,
on fire.
he's on fire. Yes. The only reason I talk a lot about that is because when I was very young, I got to see that in within a member of my family.
Oh
And
my.
I was the only child that was allowed to be there because they all knew I was already, I wouldn't say special, but okay, they knew that I had more gifts
Yeah.
than the normal child, or had developed more gifts than the normal child. And so it was very interesting that energy kept putting that person in and out of the water
Yeah.
just in the water, lifting, in the water, lifting. And we're all looking like, I'm looking, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look good. But yeah, it definitely got my feet wet, so to speak. And it definitely showed me that I had to be respectful of everything.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
because a
And
lot of the
that's the thing, people forget that piece, we're all wanting to find answers.
Mhm.
And I don't think we're meant to find all answers.
Mhm.
But what I do think we are supposed to do, especially if you have gifts, is to find out. And again, this is no disrespect for anyone, but man-made history books
Mhm.
of a location, of a land, of anything, because we talk about the general who lived here and so well respected, but then they don't talk about when those doors closed, how he beat his wife and, maybe raped the little girl down the road. Those stories come out.
Right.
No one wants to put those there. Those are the dark sides of some of the history. And I think it's that's why we're here. We're
Right.
supposed to be saying those. People
Mhm.
are always, Michelle, it's taboo. Don't. Well, I can't. When I'm in there, my mouth just goes, it's like, oops.
Oops. It's, I kind of wanted to stop it up here, but it
It
went
went like,
down the slide. Yeah.
oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but that's the thing. It's their truth. And if we're there to find out their truth, good, bad, evil, however
Yeah.
dark or light it is, that's the way we need to present it. Because
Mhm.
then we're disrespecting them.
And not only are
Yeah,
we disrespecting them, but we're disrespecting the little girl that got raped.
Exactly.
They couldn't do
absolutely.
anything about it
Right.
because it was a general.
Right.
Yeah,
And it was a man. And then, especially in those olden times, you were just a piece of property that went swinging here, there, whatever.
absolutely.
So, but yeah, I'm with you. I like to say that their truth, and some people don't like to hear it, but I just then okay, I'll find out.
Well, and it was, I always tried. And like I said, I call them love notes because I think it's beautiful. I wish I could just sit and do like gallery readings and just make people feel warm and fuzzy.
Right.
Well, I tried it. It just never worked out very well for me because it was like, oh, yeah, I think it was like your great aunt's here. And she knows how you abused your mother when she was in the hospital and you didn't take care of her. And I'm like, and it just wouldn't stop. It just kept coming and coming. I'm like, they're never going to invite me back ever, but so I knew, okay, that's not my calling.
Right.
My calling is I'm going to be over here and I'll just wave at you guys.
Well, I have done galleries, and thankfully, I have been able to manage that my mouth, because there have been times where I'm just like, pick up the cup and drink, pick up the,
Yep.
and just hold it there. Okay, that passed. All right. And also, I've learned I never do couple readings.
No.
Oh, because
No.
usually there's somebody hiding something, and you try not to say it, but there are times where it just comes out, and oh, that's not pretty.
Absolutely.
Not pretty.
Absolutely.
So,
Been there
but
too, and it's just like, "Oops, that's not no.
yeah,
No, no,
no.
no."
There are times where you just need to say, one person at a time. If you want to tell each other everything, that's okay. I even do that with friends. Like if
Yeah,
two women come and we're very close friends. Good. You could tell each other everything afterwards.
correct.
Because I'll be withholding, and then spirit will be like, you got to tell her, but 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 you know,
Oh, yeah.
and then they won't move you anymore. They'll stop there until you decide to say what you need to say, what they've been saying. So I just yeah, learn my
It's like
lesson.
the show, like NCIS when Gibbs always hits him in the back of the
Right.
head. That's that kind of thing, like,
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh well, I try to tell you not together. Anyway, now you were talking about the company that you're an ambassador for, and you're going to Ireland, and you went to Scotland, and now you're going to Greece also next year. How does that work? You know,
Well, a lot of people here and yourself, you guys know Maria Schmidt. She has Mysterious Adventure Tours. You can go to mysteriousAdventuretours.com, and she actually puts these trips of a lifetime together. The first time I talked to her, I was kind of like, how is she going to do this? How does this even make sense? But then when I seen how she set it up, they're all for everybody. I mean, she went to Romania, so it was people like really into the vampires and that kind of thing. And to be able to go on these trips, you just put a small deposit down. And you make a monthly payment without any interest. So your trip's already paid for before you go on the trip. So she's made it so easy that people who think they can't go anywhere on somewhere just to go visit. I mean, I know she's doing Germany, she's doing, I think, Italy, France. You're able to do these trips. And I'm like, I really love this idea, because I would have always thought about going on a trip, you doing your own hotels, finding your own way. How do you Uber somewhere? Do you get you end up spending all this money and you don't see half the stuff. Here, we put a full itinerary together. You know exactly where you're going. Your hotels are set up. Everything is set up for you. And so we're able to really enjoy the trip itself.
Right.
And she puts a lot into them. I'm going to tell you, I think we walked so much. I couldn't even tell you how many steps. I think one day everybody had like 30,000 steps, because we're climbing big hills, cobblestones, going to ruins, seeing Dracula's castle, this stuff. And you went back to the hotel and you were done. You're like, I'm done. But it was amazing, because it was places you'd probably never get to see if you just went on your own, because you wouldn't think about going to these places. So there's a lot of thought in every one of those tours.
And you being an ambassador, what do? You lead them, you explain things?
Yes. So what I do is I use my abilities. So when we go to those locations, if something comes forth and they talk about it, because she also has historians come, or archaeologists, and then I just help kind of bring that together.
Okay.
But also, doing things in, we hang out with everybody, we kind of help people get to where they need to go, different things like that.
Okay. All right. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Do you ever
It's overwhelming.
Do you ever get into a situation where you're refuting something that the historians or the archaeologists think is gospel?
Oh, yeah.
And how does that work?
I keep my mouth shut. Actually, the great thing is, like when I was in Scotland, they have been doing so much history and so much work on the stories to really bring to life of all the horrific things that happened to these women who they called witches. Right. But the Leonard and them and Neil that were there, what are you seeing? And then, I was able to also describe, well, I'm kind of seeing this, or I'm seeing that. And it just kind of brought things closer together of, I do see this lady, burning to death, or she's being hung, or this woman's getting, nails driven into her, things like that. So the history just kind of wakes up a little bit. It's like, remember those old books, you open it up and they had the little pop out things? That's kind of how that ends up working.
That sounds very fascinating.
And are you documenting any of this?
I didn't in Scotland. Shame on me. And the reason being is because it was my first trip. So just kind of getting my feet wet. But I guarantee there'll be a lot of documentation in Greece. I promise that one. Because I'm going to make sure me and Johnny stir some things up.
So, do you see a book coming out of this, or how do you?
Here's the thing. I have so much up here. I don't know if I could get it on paper. I've always wanted to write a book, especially about my story, growing up in Germany and in the time when you couldn't talk about your abilities and the stuff I went through, and then when I get started, it just like stops. So I don't think it's my time yet.
Mhm.
But, everybody's writing a book. So I think I'm waiting for that fad to kind of clear out and then my book will show up.
Good, good. I'm writing a book. I'm writing a series of books.
Oh,
Yes, I got my first one out already.
nice.
Yes, and then the second one is almost there, almost there. But it's when you get inspired to write, and
Yes.
that's so it's very hard to sometimes just sit there and because there is so much up here. But just
I
write
need a
it.
ghostwriter. I want to just be able to talk into something and they
Mhm.
put it on the page for me. Because when I try to put it on the page, I have it all jumbled together because it's like all comes out.
Right.
And it's like if I could just do everything on a tape and someone write it for me, I think it would be amazing.
Well, why can't you?
Yeah, why can't you?
Well, if there's any ghostwriters out there, hey, send me a private message.
There you go. And where
Because I'm
can they
looking,
contact you though?
huh?
Given that,
Ha-
how can they contact you?
You can look me up on Facebook. I'm all over there and just send me a private message from there. But yeah, it is Michelle Roos. I use my real name. So you guys can find me. And I do see a lot of comments. So I just want to take a moment to say hello to everyone that has said hello
Mhm.
and sending you guys all some special love. Um,
Yeah.
but I just happened to notice I looked over and I'm like, oh, I better say hi to folks.
Yes, the thing is about the chat, it just pops up every once in a while.
Yep.
It pops up faster. Sometimes it pops up a little later. So
Yes. So I
but
just wanted to make sure I just threw it out there.
there you go.
But I anybody can message me. I would love to do that. I
Mhm.
think my story is unique.
Mhm.
And it's just I got more to go.
There you go.
The journey's not done.
And people that are interested in joining you on some of your adventures in the coming year, how would they find out what that is and the details of that?
If they go to mysteriousadventurestores.com,
Mhm.
you can go in there and it actually has lists of all of the different trips that she has. But you guys will all want to have, please, Greece and Ireland. So
Right. I'm going to have someone post on the chat um, the your Facebook page so they
absolutely.
could just look it up there or just copy and
Yeah.
paste it whatever so
Yep. Definitely put it up there. And, if they have questions about the tours, I can actually get that information out to them too.
right
So,
and how do they contact you for the stuff that you're doing in the States?
okay. So I also have Thriller Events,
Mm-hmm.
which is a platform that sells tickets to everything otherworldly.
Right.
So paracons, events of all sorts. But we also have stores
Mm-hmm.
that we have people that can put all their items on there to also sell. People, make candles and pendants and different things. Um, when you use Ticketmaster and all that, they kind of put us in that category other.
Uh-huh.
And so if you're looking at doing some kind of paranormal event or anything like that, you have to kind of go search for it. The same
Mm-hmm.
with Eventbrite. They do the same thing. But Thriller, what we do is we put your event up there
Mhm.
And we end up sharing it out to 21 different platforms. We can make videos, and so we help market your event to sell more tickets. So,
Yeah.
Riverside, Iowa Paranormal actually has their events on thriller.events.
Mhm.
And if you go to www.thriller.events, it'll take you right there. It is filled up with all sorts of different events all over the place, from the East Coast down south, here in the Midwest. So it doesn't matter where you live in the United States, you'll be able to find something going on. We even have people who do events that are raising money for like veterans, and some have done it for helping the homeless. So all different types of things on there you can find. It's
It
one
sounds
click, one ticket, and
Yeah.
you're off and ready to go.
Sounds wonderful. It sounds like the shop all place. That
Yeah.
kind of, yeah. So good,
Now, I
good.
know you said you had a lot of different chapters.
Uh-huh.
Uh, are all of the chapters autonomous, or do they come under a general code for the group itself?
They're considered Riverside, Iowa Paranormal, but I have it as an Indiana chapter, a Texas chapter, but they stay under the umbrella. Riverside, Iowa Paranormal and Thriller Events are together as an LLC. And so it's under that umbrella where it's, they're protected.
So, say someone wants to get more involved in the actual investigation end of it, would they go to the individual chapter, or would they come through you, or how does that?
Well, each chapter I do have a lead there. So like if somebody is interested to joining Riverside, Iowa Paranormal, because we're always looking for amazing people, not just for the, doing the paranormal side, but if you do media or whatever, we have something for everyone. Normally we get a message sent to us from our Riverside, Iowa Facebook page, or you can actually go to our website, which is riversideiowa.paranormal.org. And that also will get you to us. And if you're in Indiana, Texas, I kind of do an introduction to say hello, answer any questions, and then I send them to that lead where then they can talk and get to know each other and to see if it's a fit.
Mhm.
So don't be shy, folks.
Yeah.
No.
That's sort of what we're trying to do, is create more of a dovetail
Right.
for people that are serious about trying to forward the paranormal and make it more of an accepted mainstream understanding, as opposed to the deep dark demonized
Yeah.
that some people would rather keep it as, so they can control the fear.
Right.
And how about you? Do you ever get unsettled as you're seeing nails driven into somebody, or how do you reconcile that for yourself?
Um, Sometimes I got to take a step back, and I have this bad habit of I kind of go like this, and you can hear me go in like this deep breath. And sometimes I got to control it because it catches me off guard. When you're looking at something or you're paying attention, then all of a sudden it just kind of jumps in front of you. Um, I've been unnerved a couple of times, where my biggest ones are when I'm working with something that actually has to do with suicide. That one gets to my core every time, because they keep replaying it because they're like in a loop, and they don't want to cross over because they didn't feel worthy while they were alive, and they're still not feeling worthy now. And so they even have guilt and all that. So those are the ones that just, I physically get sick to my stomach. I try to cross them over, letting them know they are loved and it is okay.
Mhm.
And it's a tough one. A lot of times I can cross a lot of them over. I do not cross anything over like when we're at events and stuff. Those are not my locations. I just do it in privates because of what the people would like, the families.
Right.
But when it comes to the suicide ones, those are more horrific to see.
For me, when I come across a child uh, who, through dogma, has been told they're going to go to hell,
Yeah.
and they're afraid to cross over because they either feel they're going to be in hell with their abuser who killed them,
Yep.
or just in hell general,
Mhm.
and to have that conversation and help them to get past the dogma that's kept them around for 80 or more years.
Yes.
It's very hard, you die with guilt and you die with shame.
Yep.
It's very hard to let go of those anchors, so you can actually just flow wherever you got to go.
Oh yeah, I did a speaking engagement at this place, and I didn't realize, never heard of what the orphan train. Have you guys heard of that? It came from New York and it went all the way to California back in the day.
Mhm.
And this was when kids were living on the streets. They were getting abused, but they were putting them on trains to go to different states because they were getting adopted,
Mhm.
and finding out that they were just put through the railways and just dropped off. And so many of them were abused. And I started going to these locations and I kept seeing these kids just dirty,
Mm.
just like that show Oliver Twist.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going on? Why am I seeing this? These kids, I'm seeing them with cuts on their back, things like that, and it was just like overwhelming. And just like you were saying, LD, trying to say it's okay because they felt unwanted this whole time. Where were they going to go? Who they didn't know if somebody was waiting for them.
Mhm.
And I remember one lady, she goes, "Oh yeah, they found bones in my yard and stuff." And she goes, "I want to give you something." And she put the bone in my hand.
Mm.
All of a sudden the flash is coming. I'm like, it was from one of those children.
Oh.
And so I end up keeping the bone and actually giving a real burial,
Mm.
and was able to pass that little girl on. But she didn't want to go. Like you said, she didn't know. She
Mhm.
wasn't wanted while she was here. Who's going to want her now? Because she still felt in that, trapped in that.
Right. And a lot of the times they feel because they've been told that they're going to go to hell because they're bad.
Yep.
And it could be something as simple as, being a child, you know,
Absolutely.
skipping instead of walking, or wearing the tie the wrong way. So that's something that's very important for people to understand.
Or even a child with a narcissistic parent who doesn't do
Yes.
anything wrong, but the
Right.
parents got to shift the blame.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's very interesting when that happens, and the fact that it takes a lot of explaining and really showing them. And I don't know about you, but I need to kind of open the tunnel or the door and let
Yep.
them feel the actual love that's there, the clarity that's there. So then they are willing to kind of walk towards there and let them experience it.
Mhm.
I always tell them, you could be right at the door. And if you don't want to go in, you don't have to, but just go up and experience it for yourself first. It's very hard with kids, very hard.
Very hard. And like again, and the same with people who have committed suicide.
Yep. Yeah.
And see, and you kind of open the tunnel, and I use myself as an
Right.
anchor to bring them through so they can feel the light and love before they leave,
Right.
which hurts like hell. I don't recommend it.
Right.
I always end up with full of bruises doing it, but sometimes you have to.
Right. Well, that's how LD does it.
Yeah.
He's developed it so he doesn't end up with bruises, but that's how he basically crosses. I was like a long time ago. I was like, yeah, no, there's the door. Go ahead. You still feel my love. I'll let you feel my love and my energy and all that, which is coming from there. But I don't always allow them to come in,
I
especially.
didn't know I did it until it happened to me one time without my knowledge, and it just kind of like cut through me like a knife. And I'm like, what just happened? And I thought it was dying.
Mhm.
And now I have a little more control, but I think because of being so little,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just that much energy, you know, and it's normally on my spine, you know, going down my back a little bit. I get the little bruises, and I always have like a handprint,
Mm,
and then it goes away after a couple of days.
mm.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
no.
exciting. Not.
Nah. It's you know, people don't understand that being an empath, part of this,
Yeah.
uh, you get to experience everything.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah, but it's you know, it's like St. Augustine. I don't know if you've ever been to St. Augustine.
No.
Oh, you need to go. The old jail, that whole area. They had under the building. They had a graveyard for unwed mothers and
Oh,
children that passed away early or were stillborn because they were considered the devil must have touched them. So that whole area was, I walked in, I went to certain rooms, felt everything. I'm like, yeah, we were supposed to do the investigation that night with a whole
yeah.
group. And I was like, you know what? I already experienced everything. We could sit this one out. We sat at the restaurant across the street and watch everybody go in and out. I'm like, yeah, it's
Yeah, we
okay.
weren't leading it. We
Yeah,
were basically
just
just part
participate.
of it.
Right.
Yes.
We were participating. But yeah, the owner of that shop was kind enough to let us during the day, and I was like, I really don't want to feel that
And we were able to validate quite a bit of it for her.
again. Right,
So
right,
Oh, that's good.
right.
Have
Because
you ever
she
been
was
to
feeling.
Gettysburg?
Yes, yes.
Is it tough on you?
The first time, yes, but
Yeah.
then after that, you kind of expect, so you put
Hmm.
up that shield before it gets to that dangerous point. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
That
no,
first time I wasn't prepared, and I'm
no,
like,
nobody is.
whoa.
I don't think anybody really is,
Uh-uh.
because you see and feel so much that it's terrible. So
And I don't think you really have to have any strong abilities to actually feel it out there, because I was worn out just walking, because I had just walking through, all I kept seeing the whole time was not the fields, but just, you know, lakes of blood, and just
yeah,
kind of going through it. And I just felt like I was constantly, it was very tough. I was just
yeah,
like, wow.
hmm extremely. So, well, Michelle, it's almost time. I'd like to. We like to thank you for being here with us, and you know, extend the invitation to another time you're available. So we would love to.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
again, we have on the chat room all of the how they could get in touch with you. But
links.
yeah, the links. But quickly, give us your Riverside paranormal.
Yes, it's riversideiowa.paranormal.org.
Right.
And that is for anybody that is wanting to get in, you know, involved with Riverside, Iowa Paranormal. We're always looking for great people. If
Yeah.
you're looking for great events, go to thriller.events. That's any paranormal anywhere around the United States. And just private message me if you want to do one of the mysterious adventure tours. Again, you got anybody could do those. They're amazing, and they're trips of a lifetime. And I will guide you to whatever you need to help with.
Great.
And is
Well,
there
thank
anything
you.
we haven't covered that you want to say briefly?
I just want to thank everybody that's watching, and also thanking everybody that I've seen some people on the chat that actually do use Thriller and who are part of RIP. I want to thank you guys for always supporting me. And I want to thank you too. This has been a beautiful evening. I have really enjoyed this. It was relaxed. I felt like, you know, we were able to really talk the truth instead of sugarcoating. So thank you. And I love you all.
And we love you all. And join us next week. We have special guest Mariana Leah, who channels Mary Magdalene. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Stay with us. Love you all.